like around the boxing club from like maybe 1 month old, honestly. That's when my dad started the boxing club back in 2003. I was about one at the time, but at the time my brothers were going to boxing fights and stuff. I started fighting at 8, and I stopped fighting from 12 when I went to the nationals, junior Olympic nationals. I got bronze medalist. That's really big because I was the first Native American woman, Blackfeet girl, from my reservation in my hometown to ever hold that title. So it was really, really big for me. And then after a while, I just trained for a long time because I was supposed to make the weight for 101, but I was 101.8. So maybe I ran around maybe 4 o'clock in the morning till 8, and I just couldn't lose those extra ounces. And so I had to make a decision, either waste my time from going all the way down to West Virginia from Browning, or cut my hair, because that's all the only thing that I could, think that would cut off some weight. And so my hair was beneath my bottom, and I just told my dad, I was like, I have to do it. And I grabbed some scissors and I just cut my hair all the way up to right here. So I was a little boy with a little full head, but it honestly was a great experience. It made me realize, you have to have strength to do stuff that others wouldn't understand. And it takes you back into your cultural ways, because people say hair is your power. Now that's what they say in the Native American community. But with the experience with Christian and them, I freaking loved it. I loved everyone. I loved Kristen. I loved Tom. I loved the camera crew. It really opened my eyes up and helped me open other people's eyes, because not a lot of people knew what MMIW was on my reservation. I learned about it my freshman year. I watched some documentary on YouTube. It just came up. And so that's when I learnd about MMIW, and I slowly started to educate myself on it and then educate others. And I wrote papers on it. I won awards for it, actually. And for Christian to just come out of nowhere and be able to give us this resource and show it to everyone was really, really a good thing, because now so many people know about it, and we get told all the time, like, that most people that weren't Native American are now familiar with it and want a change for it. It's really, really a great thing. I loved it so much.
Thank you for sharing that. And I love the story you told about your hair, and I had no idea if you need to lose a few ounces, that is. So you were able to box after that in the 101?
Yeah, when they moved, actually, we had to weigh in at 8, so that's when I told you I didn't make weight. So they moved it to an hour to see if I'd lose those extra ounces. We had almost every single coach in the entire nation give me their boxing coat, the ones that, it said like what club they're from, and I had about maybe 8 coats on, and I ran like 3 flights of stairs, and I was hot. I felt really, really drained, and it was also like 90 degrees right in the morning, and I had resting shoes on, boxing shoes, and the soles on them are like about that thick. They're really, really thin. And so my feet were burning, and that's when I was just like, I can't do it no more. I feel like I'm going to fall over and just cut it off. It was like not even a planned thing at all. It was crazy.
Wow, that's pretty amazing. And now you're going to college?
Yeah. So this summer, with the whole pandemic thing, I looked into a job at the IHS, and that's the Indian Health Services here. It's the hospital. And so I was one of the frontline people at the emergency room here to take care of COVID patients, take care of, people that came in with injuries and stuff. And so I was like the front person. I'm only 18. So, but the good thing about it is that the people here, they trained us, what to do in these kind of situations. And it was really eye-opening, because I didn't realize what goes on in the IHS, background and everything like that. I got to see and experience and be trained in different kinds of things. And it was hard. It honestly was. But I would do it all over again. And it made me realize that, I really do want to go in the medical field. So I'm going to my first year of college. And I'll be attending here at the BCC, Blackfeet Community College. And then I'll be going to Missoula for, I want to be ultrasound x-ray technician, because that's what we really lack here on the reservation. We only have traveler nurses and stuff, but we don't have anybody permanent for that position.
That's awesome. And boxing, will you still be boxing?
Yeah, I'll be training. I will be a trainer, but just with both of my knees in really bad condition, I can't do it anymore. And it just, like, my heart, my heart is in the sport. I love boxing, but it's too hard on my body. And if I can, even though I can't fight, maybe I can, help someone else realize what's going on, and teach them how to be a good fighter, how to be sharp, how to be, be able to defend themselves.
So for those of you,
Just really quickly to add to that, Donna's always so modest when she talks about it. In the gym, all of the little girls look up to Donna. She is like the golden standard in the gym. And so her presence there, training others, I think is going to have a huge impact on the future of women boxers on the reservation.
that's amazing. Thank you for that input. And for those of you who are watching at home, or who were watching the Blackfeet boxing, or maybe you haven't seen it yet, Donna is Coach Frank's daughter who broke her knee in one of the fights. So that was a heartbreaking scene. Yeah, it was pretty awesome to see all of that though. And Donna, do you want to sort of chime in and talk about your experience? Or sorry, Donna, Kristen, you want to chime in and talk about your experience? How did you get involved with this documentary? And did you have any issues with getting access, or did you have to build trust? Or I know you were a co-director on this, so maybe you can talk about your experience behind the lens.
Absolutely. Yes, the trust thing is huge, and I can get into that. But in terms of how I found out about the gym and about the the powerful story of what the girls in the gym were doing, I was actually on a flight on my way back from a film shoot in Nepal. I was doing another story, and throughout my career at ESPN, I've always gravitated towards stories about female empowerment through sports. And so that was the story that I actually was telling in Nepal, was about a female golfer there who was born into the lowest caste system and was trying to rise out of her station and become a professional golfer. So anyways, I was coming back from that shoot, and it's so funny. You find inspiration in the strangest places. I just happened to turn on the movie Wind River on the plane, which is obviously like a Hollywood film. And there, the portrayals and the depictions are not very accurate, I've come to find out. But at the end of the film, there is a graphic that comes up and says there are no missing person statistics for Indigenous women. No one knows how many have gone missing. And it just kind of chilled me, and I couldn't believe what I had read. And I just started researching what MMIW was. I'm so embarrassed to say that I had never heard of it at that point in 2017. And it had nothing to do with sports at that point. I was just interested as a person to learn more about it. And in that research and reading, I actually came across a photo essay in one of the local papers where the Blackfeet Reservation is. And it was a photo essay of reactions to Ashley Loring Heavy Runner's disappearance on the reservation. And so it was just 20 to 30 photographs of different reactions to her having gone missing. And one of the photos in the essay was of two young girls sparring at the Blackfeet boxing gym. And there was a caption that said, "Frank Kipp teaches girls how to fight for their lives at the Blackfeet Nation Boxing Club." And I just knew that in reading that, I had found something that was worth telling our audience at ESPN. And so I pitched it to my bosses, and they felt moved by the story as well. And they sent me out to meet Donna and her family. Obviously, that's where the trust comes in. You know, I'm an outsider. I'm coming to the reservation. They don't know anything about me. And honestly, there was skepticism kind of everywhere I went on the res at first, because in every conversation I had, people mentioned that filmmakers and production crews had come and they had basically taken and taken and taken, and they had not portrayed anything positive on the reservation. It was all very negative portrayals. And so I had to, you know, really ask Donna and her family and the girls at the gym to trust me that I was not trying to tell that story. I was actually trying to tell a very positive story about all of the good that they were doing to help the next generation of women on the reservation. And I think that, you know, that trust obviously was gradual and it came over time. But I'd like to think that, you know, my authenticity and my genuine care and interest in what they were doing came through. And eventually we all became very close. I tell this story all the time because it's one of the most memorable moments of my life. The last time I went to the Blackfeet reservation, I was 6.5 months pregnant, and at the gym there was a huge naming ceremony where my unborn baby was blessed, and I was given all of these different clothes and for the baby and all of these things, and I basically felt like a part of the community. It was so special. So
That's really amazing. Thank you for sharing that story.
absolutely.
That is pretty touching. I know a lot of viewers often think after the film, well, where are they now? You know, and now we get to see where Donna is. But Donna, can you fill us in on anything else, any other updates from this film?
So with some of the updates that we've gotten is that with some of the money that we, you know, was donated to the boxing club, because they got to see on the film that, you know, we don't really have the best equipment. A lot of it's old, a lot of it's way before even my time, and I'm 18 years old. And so with that money that we were able to get, we were able to buy new equipment like boxing bag or punching bags, speed bags, different kinds of mitts, boxing gloves, and even which was really exciting was boxing outfits. And we got them the colors that we wanted and everything like that. And when we were able to tell the kids recently in the group chat, everyone was like, "What? Like, you guys, we were able to get this?" And everyone, when something happens, you know, on the positive, on the community, it's really, really big. Even like little things, it's like, you know, everyone appreciates it. Everyone was really, really happy about it. And we're honestly so grateful for all the kindness everyone showed us, and the appreciation and acknowledgments, because we know that, you know, not a lot of people know about the subject, and which is like, you know, it's not anybody's what is, how would you say that, not anybody's fault knowing about this, because it's not as spoken about as it is now. But we are doing really, really good. Let's see, we're very grateful to ESPN and Kristen and them. Oh my gosh, like we gave my dad was the one that you know, blessed her baby, and my uncle as well, and we gave her a Pendleton for her baby. And if you haven't seen our baby, oh my gosh, she's the cutest little thing ever. But we're really glad that we met her, because she, you know, was someone that became like family to us in a way. Yeah.
And Rebecca, I just want to add one other thing in terms of updates on where some of the girls and young boys are in the gym and what they're up to right now. It's really crazy because, like everywhere else in the world right now, there aren't a ton of updates. The gym has been closed because of the pandemic since March, and so life has kind of, you know, it's stopped pretty much, you know, for everybody, but it's stopped for the boxers at the gym. You know, there were obviously no nationals this year. So unfortunately, you know, I've talked with Frank a lot about like when he plans to open the gym, and he obviously wants to be safe about it. So yeah, it's just a strange time with everything, and, you know, not having nationals this year and all of that. But yeah, as Donna said, we've kept in touch, and you know, we always update one another about kind of what's going on with both the film and then what's going on at the club.
Did they happen to find anything about the sister that they were searching for throughout the film?
Well, we really haven't heard anything about it. Honestly, we haven't, and but they're still looking. They still have searches for her a lot. They still post about her on Facebook. They would make it really well known, and we always pray for her. A lot of people always pray for her. It's always on in our group chat. It's on Facebook. But as she said, everything is closed right now. My dad does want to be safe with the virus going on right now. And they extended on our reservation. We have a ordinance on our tribal ordinance, so no one outside of the reservation is allowed to come in, like tourists or outsiders and stuff, which is it's a good thing. But one of the best things I see about it is that wherever you go on the reservation, we they have you, they check your temperature and everything. Everyone has their mask because we really respect our elders and we don't want to lose them. And this virus is very hard on elders and people with sicknesses like cancer and stuff like that, and diabetes. And my dad he does have he is recovering from cancer and has diabetes. But so yeah, it's really hard. But with the thing about it, when people come into town and stuff, even if you're they see you at the store regularly or something, you have to go inside and write down your name and your phone number. And the cops, they are always pulling people over that have outside plates, even if they are like a town away or something, just to see why they're in Browning. We're more aware of what's going on and yeah, who's coming through our town.
That's awesome to hear. I'm glad everybody's taking precautions and trying to protect the elders. That's very important. So let's check in with everybody at home. Welcome if you're just now joining us. And if you have any questions about Blackfeet boxing, Not Invisible, you can go ahead and put those down in the chat. And while we wait for your questions to roll in, is there anything the two of you can say about if somebody was really interested in wanting to help the boxing gym or help MMIW in Browning area, what things can be done?
Yes, I think we can both answer this in very different ways. I can actually forward along to the group chat right now some GoFundMe pages that contribute towards the funds for Kimberly and her family to use when they go and search, when they write to Congress and try to get laws changed. I mean, there's a lot of things that the family does to help the efforts of the MMIW crisis and trying to turn things around and make it make it disappear. So I can send those along. I can also send along the GoFundMe page for the Blackfeet Nation Boxing Club. Frank and his family have been so generous through the years, and every dime that they have goes into that gym. And they live a very modest life, but they give it all back to the community, and it's really amazing. And so it's been wonderful to see people moved by the film and then want to donate. So those are two different ways. But honestly, just spreading the word about this issue is so important. I know that I've spoken on, several panels at different film festivals and virtual screenings, and I get emails after every single one, kind of thanking all of us for bringing this to light, from people, in parts of the country that are just not aware about what's going on. There is something called the Sovereign Bodies Institute. It's a organization that basically tracks and has a database for all of the missing, murdered Indigenous women in the United States and Canada. That's another place that you can donate and offer to help. And those are just some of the small ways that that people can help with these issues. But I can put all of that in the chat.
Yes, that would be helpful. And we have one question so far, and feel free, anybody, if you have more questions, and then I'll sort of just read them off. But is NAMI still boxing? at least pre-COVID?
Uh, yeah, so I mean, Donna can also answer this. The last time I spoke to Mamie was in early June, and at that point, she said that she very much wanted to start boxing again, but she had actually moved to a different town, and then she had moved back to Browning. So she wasn't at that point when I last spoke to her in June. Obviously, it's August now, so that was 2 months ago, but.
And
So much potential. I hope she gets back to it, because I think honestly, like, the sky is the limit for her in the ring.
Yeah. Mamie is an exceptional fighter. I mean, even in my own opinion, I think she's, like, ahead of me. And yeah, she's a very successful fighter. But so she, as Kristen said, she did move to another town. And one thing that she is really excelling in right now is basketball. So I think she's really taken that turn, focusing on other sports, because she's been in boxing so long. And not a lot of people know, but boxing really does take a lot out of you mentally and physically. That's why I kind of took a break from it from the age of 12 to 16, where I still trained, but I was, it does take a toll on you, on your body and your mind. So maybe that's what she's doing. I haven't really talked to her in a while, but
I just want to add something too, just to put into perspective for everybody here, what Donna and Mamie accomplished. Both of them qualified for the Junior Olympics, and Donna actually, won a bronze medal at the Junior Olympics on the national scale. Like, that is a huge, huge deal. That's every single amateur female boxer in this country tries to make it to that national tournament, and both of them were able to qualify. So I just think that says a lot. This isn't just locally, this is like on a national scale what these two young women were able to accomplish, which is really awesome.
That is amazing. That is so great. And I hope you all, inspire lots of young ladies after this. I was watching this earlier today, and my 5-year-old was watching with me, and it's my kids, they have to watch what I watch for work sometimes. But she said, I really like this part, and it was the part where you broke your knee. And
oh yeah.
yeah, and she was like, but some parts are boring. She doesn't know yet. The documentary, a lot of talking, it's kind of just over her head, but it was pretty cool because later on in the night she said, can we watch that movie again? And she
Oh,
doesn't
that's
say
so
that
cute.
about every movie, so that was pretty
That's so awesome.
It's funny because, obviously when Donna was injured, it was an awful, awful situation, and I felt for her. But in retrospect, sometimes I feel like an injury or losing to an audience can sometimes be more relatable. Everyone knows what it feels like to, come up short or feel like they disappointed themselves or frustrated because of something that's out of their control. And so I've heard from a lot of people talk about, like, I think it's actually more relatable that Donna went through that. I could really feel for her as opposed to if she had gone on to win. So I just thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, no, definitely. So we have a few more questions from our audience. Kristen, how long did it take your crew to shoot this story? And that's from Kelly Rush.
Hi, Kelly. So we actually started the filming in September of 2018, and our last shoot was in October of 2019. So it was a little bit over a year. And over that year, we came to the reservation probably 6 or 7 times. So we definitely spent, a good amount of time with everybody at the gym, which I thought was really important to kind of capture who they are and not just, a one-time, one-off shoot where we're in and out. I thought it was really important to develop relationships.
Definitely. And Jean Ann was wondering about reception the film had in various communities.
So I can't speak personally, but We actually hired Ivan and Ivan McDonald, who are two Indigenous filmmakers that are of Blackfeet descent, and they've become really close friends of mine. They were associate producers on the film, and I thought that was really important to have their perspective and to have Indigenous men and women on our staff, so that just wasn't told from my perspective being a white female. I wanted to make sure that they were weighing in on all of the decisions we made. And I know that they've told me that in terms of different Indigenous communities that they've heard that it has made an impact and it's resonated with the people that have watched it, which was really cool.
And the people in the community, the Blackfeet community, and how about outside the Blackfeet community as well?
Yeah, so I think it is. I think it's resonating with people. You know, it's been accepted into 13 film festivals. It won a festival, the grand prize, a few weeks ago, and now it's Academy Award eligible, which is really exciting. So it's had some success, which has to mean that it's cutting through with people. I hope.
And
Oh,
go ahead.
sorry. The last festival, the only festival I was able to go to before the virus came was in Missoula, and I didn't know what to expect. We went there. We watched a film in front of quite a few people, a crowd, and they played through different kinds of films, and ours was the last one. And when the film was ended, it like I just thought, you know, like a normal clap would go on and but we got a standing ovation, and that was like, but to me that was like, oh my gosh, like did that move people how I wanted it to be moved? Because I want it to be, you know, I wanted it to be known. I wanted to be able to show people what's going on in the Native American community. And I had lots of people tell me like they said it was such a great film that they want to put their daughters into boxing. And so I think I have about like maybe 10, 11 girls on my social media that are always asking, when's the boxing club's gonna open? When's the boxing club gonna open? And I'm like, well, not yet. And they asked me like, are you gonna be my trainer? Or who's gonna be my trainer? Is Frank gonna be my trainer? Or this? And I'll be like, or my sister Beatrice. My sister Beatrice is also a trainer, and she's actually really, really good with the kids. She's really, really good with the girls. And so to me, that's just like, it's just really awesome. It feels good because I want people to know, or girls to know, especially that even though boxing is such a rough sport, they should just try it just because they don't know if they'll like it or not. And even if they don't like it, at least they come out with the outcome of knowing that they know how to fight, how to defend themselves on the outside of the boxing club. Yeah, especially with the bullying that we have on the reservation, and you know, just different kinds of things, as you know, domestic abuse, child abuse, and just different kinds of things that go on the reservation are really common. Hopefully with the boxing club and what we can teach them, it could prevent that. It could help them in some way that, you know, they know what to do. They're not just scared, because as we know, you know, it is a scary situation to be put in that kind of environment.
Definitely. And so Charmaine Clay says, thank you for making this movie. I lived in Browning many years ago. Glad to hear the mention of basketball, as that was a big sport. Also wondering what job and college programs are offered both on and off reservations, off the reservation, I guess, and how we might support them. And then I just saw that you have, Kristen, some links below where you can go. Lots of good GoFundMe's. That's probably the best way, you know, to support grassroots efforts is very important. And we also had another one from our new assistant director, Charlie Perry, for Vision Maker Media. And he says, Kristen, would you be open to working on more films centered around Native American issues and affairs? If so, do you have any ideas brewing?
To answer the first portion, absolutely. I have been fascinated with the culture and the people, and it's just such a special, special community. And I want to work with Indigenous people for years to come. Again, I feel like my calling as a director and producer with ESPN is finding stories about female empowerment. So any types of stories that involve women and Indigenous rights would definitely be interesting to me. I do not currently have anything brewing, but always looking for ideas and pitches and open to finding them anywhere. So if anyone has any ideas, please send them my way. I can send my email address at the bottom as well.
Okay, great. I just sent a message to everybody. So when you sent the links, it only went to us. So I included the panelists or the attendees as well.
Thank you. Sorry about that.
Yeah, you'll want to be sure to include them as well. And Donna, what are you hoping to work on in the future? After this film, how has it affected your life? How has it maybe inspired you or changed your trajectory?
With everything going on and stuff, a lot of people, I don't know if a lot of people know how in the boxing club, my dad, he built this from, with his own hands and his own money. And so my dad's always been a really giving person, a community person. He loves working with the community a lot. And just growing up in that kind of atmosphere, it made me realize, I like to help the community. That's why I kind of joined the job at the IHS here in Browning. And with that, it made me realize people of different kind of what is that word? Backgrounds, I got told all the time, because I look like this, they won't give me the benefit of this. And to me, that just seemed, kind of odd to me. And I just told them, I was like, just because you are this kind of person doesn't mean I'm not going to help you. And that, honestly, I actually got acknowledged that work from the CEO of IHS. I was awarded one of the best students they've had there in a long time. And so when I worked there, it made me realize that I do want to help out the community. What, Dad?
It's your community.
Oh, it's my community. My dad, he's going in the back because I have a really hard time talking.
You can put him on to say hi if you want.
Yeah, Frank, come on.
Sure. You shame.
Hello, how you doing?
Hello.
Hi, Frank.
Hey, Kristen. How you folks doing?
And by the way, let me just say, and truly one of the kindest and most genuine men I have ever met, and just wants to help. It was such an honor to work with him. So thank you, Frank.
Back at you. I wanted Donna to tell you folks also that, we have this old boxing gym that Christian's seen. I'm able to have some money to be able to repair it and renovate it. And our goal is to someday get a bigger place. And it's just not boxing what we want to deal with. We want to deal with ballet. We want to deal with prevention. And kids need prevention. That's just it, And if I can do it, we can pull this off. And we're working on our 501c3. I want so many things for kids here, and 6 of the 7 days a week. And because I see, when I was a probation officer, I had to get away from it because it put too much in my mind, and I have issues. I'm a traumatic brain injury survivor, and there's just so much that I could take at the time, and I had to get out of it because of what was going on with my brain, my memory and things out, whatever else you want to say. But it's never stopped me from doing the things that I do with the boxing club. I do it because there's so many kids that, when I had a kid that was going through a tough time with his family's going through a divorce. And he told me, that was the only place that I found sanity, Frank, was there. He said, because you accept me for who I am. You took time. You were a father figure to me. And it's really humbling when somebody tells you you're like their father. I've had that said to me so many times, and, the kids that have come through there that have succeeded. I have kids that have been police officers. We let 12 Marines that come out of our boxing club. We've had guys that are in college. And I told my wife, she never got to really see all the kids that I affected we've affected. And I had a great big kid, and he told me we were in Conrad, Montana, and he come up to me, he said, "You Frank Hip?" I said, "Yeah." "Do you remember me?" I went, "No." He said, you sent me to Montana Youth Challenge. And I went, "Okay." And I went, "Oh boy." And he gave me a hug. And he told me, he said, "I think about the things you tell me every day about being a father that I didn't have." He said, "And being a worker, being first at work at 7 a.m. and working and not missing work and not being late." He said, "I think about that all the time." He said, and I want, and it's just, there's just so many success stories. I got to write a book if I, I got to write a book or have
I was
my
going to
wife
say,
help
we left a lot of the stories that Frank told us out of the film because we couldn't fit it all in, but he's impacted so many more children than we were able to fit into our film.
It's I don't know, God puts work on you, things that you have to do. And I mean, if you would have told me when I was a young man what I'd be doing today, I would have never believed you. But the power of God and the things that the blessings and ESPN coming into our world, and it has really helped us. I mean, I can do things now. I got hope, and it, as far as my daughter, I'm so proud of her. Both of my daughters, and my children, I couldn't do this, believe me, without my wife and my children, and we are on a verge. I mean, we got so many things that we want to do, and I want to keep kids busy. I don't want to lose any more kids. There's a lot of, like Christian said, there's a program that we created years ago. It was called MIP, and we were losing kids because of alcohol and being with drinking and driving and stuff. And we saved a lot of kids. It wasn't just me, but we had a big impact. And now it's not such. What was bi-monthly, it doesn't hardly happen. Thank God, knock on wood. And it's one of those things. And if we can do something in our community here, and also outside communities, with this, we think about that, and what happened to that girl, and a lot of the little girls that I come across, most of them come into the boxing club because they're being bullied. And when they come into the boxing club, the empowerment, also young guys come in there, they're being bullied. I mean, you should see the look on their face when they face that they're the person that's bullying them, and they're able to take care of themselves. And I always tell them, don't ever be a bully. I'm a survivor of bullying. That's why I have a traumatic brain injury. I said, but I don't want you to be that. And I want you to, if you're going to get into something, you go and talk to your authority figure first. Say, but we don't take the first hit ever. I said, it might be the last one. So, so I tell them basically, hands up, stay away. And, we've been really successful, and I have so many dreams. By the time the day is done with this boxing club and the things that we do, I'm hoping that we have a big youth center, and I could just stand back and, I did it, and I can stand back and watch it grow and have other people. My daughter and my children want to help me with this. That's something Donna hasn't mentioned, but if that ever comes to be a reality, I have my wife's a fiscal manager, and, we were talking about training the kids and what have you to do this and stuff and take over. Because there's going to come a day when me and Ember are going to buy a small truck and a little bubble camper, those little pull behinds, and we're going to take a trip someplace and look at America.
Yeah, come see Kansas, Nebraska.
Yeah, Donna was talking about Haskell Indian School too over there.
Yeah, yep, right here in Lawrence.
I'm not too sure if they have what she wants to get into, but she was talking about that earlier. I said the world and opportunity is yours. I wish I was 20 years old again.
Yeah.
I would do that.
Well,
anyway,
since you're writing your book, Claudia said she would love to read it. She's one of our viewers right now.
So would I, Claudia.
Yeah, you got to write this book.
There's so many things. I gotta. I'm not as computer savvy as I like to be, but I understand you got these little jump drives. You can just whatever, and then put it away, and I think that's how I'll have to do it.
Yeah, or just have Donna record you.
Yeah, well, I tell a lot of stories, and there's a lot of, sometimes I get carried away. I mean, Christian will tell you, and it's because of my brain injury. I start talking about something, and I forget about people's time, and stuff. So I don't want to take too much of your guys, because I got a million of them.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining us. That was a really unexpected pleasure. So thank you.
Oh, no problem. No problem. And thank you guys. We really, Christian, we really appreciate everything you folks have done. I can't even tell you, and all the folks that have donated and helped us. I'm going to tell you what, we're going to get it, and it when you work, there's so many stories, like we're fixing our vans. I'm renovating my boxing club, and the thing that we've always had to worry about is when we have old vans and they break down. But God has been good to us. We've always broke down where we could get help,
Yeah,
we didn't break
that's
down
good.
climbing a mountain, and there's nobody to help us. So God's
And
always,
so Frank actually drives all of the children to the different tournaments all over the state and Wyoming and all over.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I got a lot of good coffee. So it
Yeah.
keeps me, they keep me awake, because some of the characters that I've had in my boxing club over the years, and now they're successful adults. And that's what's so really cool about it, And I tell kids all the time, positive lifestyles, what we stay away from, and it's just, it's not all so much about boxing. It's about life too, in that boxing club. And, Christian will tell you, when we got done doing that filming that night, Christian, remember I laid down in that boxing ring? I laid down because, like I said, we were busy all that day, and I finally hit the wall. And being a cancer survivor, believe me, I was running on fumes all day. But when I laid down in that boxing ring, the power of that boxing ring, just I can't even explain it. When I go through my pain in my body, because I got bad shoulders and bad knees, and there's been times that I just barely open up the gym doors, and they know what to do. I'll lay in that boxing ring, and it just like, I can't explain it, but it rejuvenates me, and I get up, and I'm like the ever-ready battery. It charged me up for a little while. I can go another hour or so, maybe lay back down in that ring. I don't know.
Yeah, well, we might have to send our audience your way and check out your boxing ring as soon as, after COVID and all that.
Yeah. I hope and pray that this COVID passes. There's been so many nice people that want to come up and help us, and stuff, and work with girls and stuff. And I got a little army of girls, believe me. And my daughter Frankie's going to box this year. And so we're really excited about that. We'll see what happens. She wants a box, and her sisters will be there to train her, and I'll be there. And I mean, I was going to kind of take a little break, but I can't, man. I love, it's a part of my life. I can't explain it other than that. It's just a part of my life. And I guess
thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah. See, that's what I'm saying. I got to watch because I get to talk, and boy, I can.
Yeah.
But anyway, you guys have a blessed day. It was nice to meet you, and all the audience and the people. Take care, and God bless. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
You bet.
So, Kristen, we had another question from Jean Ann. Sorry if I'm not saying that right. She said, "How did you get connected to the story?" So you talked a little bit about you watched Wind River, and that kind of sparked your interest in the community and the issue and everything like that. So do you have any did you lay awake at night just thinking, what can I do? Or do you have any,
I mean, and again, it was, I know that movie was very like Hollywoodized, and in speaking with Ivan and Ivy McDonald, who we brought on as associate producers on the film, there was a lot of portrayals in that movie that actually weren't appreciated by Indigenous people. So I don't want people to think that that was like the inspiration, but it was that graphic at the end of the film, which was obviously very factual, which was that there was no database or no way of counting how many indigenous women have gone missing. And that was kind of like the thing that kind of triggered my interest in trying to learn about what is MMIW and how can I find a story, honestly, that involves sport and this issue. And that's what kind of led me to the Blackfeet Nation boxing gym, that these girls were trying to train themselves in self-defense in order to protect themselves from the violence that was surrounding them on the reservation. And if that doesn't inspire you, I don't know what will. So they're such badasses, and it was such an honor to be able to work with these girls. They were truly, truly special.
And Ivan and Ivy McDonald are also Vision Maker filmmakers, and they're working on a documentary called When They Were Here for Vision Maker.
Oh my gosh, I didn't realize that was through you guys. Yeah, I know a lot about the film. That's amazing. They're wonderful. Very talented.
So stay tuned for that. It's just coming out of the R&D stage, the research and development stage, so they will be working on that for a couple of years still. So very cool. And we also have, Vision Maker also has another MMIW film. Right now it's untitled, but it's by the Twin Cities PBS, and the director is Leah Hale out there, and she's working on a MMIW specific film.
Amazing.
Yeah, we've had a few. So I was the assistant director of Vision Maker before coming to the University of Kansas,
Okay.
and so I know a lot about Vision Maker still.
Well,
Have a
I'm
lot of
really excited
connections.
to see both of those films.
Yeah, they're pretty great. And we will have more films too at this Indigenous Film Festival for everyone to check out. And please share on social media. There are some really great graphics on the website and the Vision Maker Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. You can share it all. And I'm making my students do this for extra credit right now. And so watch some films and see what they learn from these films. So thank you, Kristen, for your time. And then Donna, do you have any last things that you want to say before we wrap up?
My dad wanted to thank Tom Rinaldi. That's one of the director too with Kristen. He always thanks Tom Rinaldi. He's like, they're like buds, they're like close buds.
They always tease each other.
They always tease each other. But as I always say, you are just as strong as the land that you were brought up on. And if we continue this, if we continue, of course we're going to continue the boxing club, if we continue the outspread of MMIW on the outside of reservations, outside of Native Americans, we can make this even, more known to people that aren't, as educated in it. If we can do that, then maybe this person's story would be told, this person's story told. They would be acknowledged, and that family would be giving some type of comfort, some type of, at least like they don't feel like they're ghosts, like they're not in the shadows no more, not in the darkness no more, that their loved one is finally shown as someone as in the system. It doesn't matter if it's in the system, as long as it's known to people, knowing that this is wrong, this is something that is going on, and then we can stop it. If we can stop it, but that's the whole main reason, is to stop it. If we can keep our girls, our Native American girls, safe, we can keep them, in out of harm's way.
Definitely. Well, thank you so much for both of you taking your time to meet with our audience this afternoon, or this evening actually, and for being a part of this amazing film that's definitely gonna spur some change.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much for having us. We're really appreciative.
Definitely. Okay, I think we're all good to wrap it up now. So thank you everyone in the audience for joining us this evening, and please tell your friends about the Vision Maker Indigenous Online Film Festival.
Bye everybody, have a good night.
Bye.